Hi, I'm Jennifer Fulton, the Inquiring Quilter. Welcome to another episode of Intelligent Quilting. This time I'm going to talk about the tools that will help you make half-square triangles. First of all, let's talk about before you even start. It can't be said enough that the most important thing you can do to ensure that you get accurate blocks and an accurate straight quilt is to press your fabric perfectly. Something that helps pressing is a wool pressing mat. After I make my half square triangles or after I make a block, I always press it using my wool pressing mat. And that helps square it up. It's unbelievable how much this wool mat has changed my life when it comes to pressing my fabrics correctly. Another thing that helps is to use starch or starch alternative. I like to use Best Press. Not only can you get it in a flavor that smells real good, but also it works like a charm. And unlike starch, it doesn't leave flakes and stuff. So it's a very easy product to use, and it will help remove wrinkles and leave your fabrics pressed straight and true, and help you with cutting. If you happen to use your starch as you're pressing your fabrics, before you cut anything, you'll find that you get more accurate cuts, and so that will also translate into more accurate half square triangles or more accurate blocks. Let's see, what other tools do I like to use? Well, with 2 at a time or 8 at a time half square triangle methods, you're marking either the diagonal and you're stitching a 1/4 inch from that, or you're marking the diagonal and the sewing lines. Two tools that I like to use to help me mark the sewing lines are these. These are by Fons and Porter. They're called 1/4 inch seam markers. You lay them corner to corner on your squares of fabric and mark along the edges, and that gives you the sewing lines that you need, and they're exactly a 1/4 inch away, so that really helps. There are other companies that make these, not just Fons and Porter, but what I like about theirs is that they come in a set of 2 different sizes, which helps when you're making real small half square triangles or if you're making larger ones. Here's another similar tool. It's by Quilter's Rule. What I like about it is that it's got a little slot in the center that helps you mark that diagonal line from corner to corner. And then, of course, you can also mark along the edges and get your sewing line. If you don't want to invest in special tools when marking your half square triangle, you don't have to. Something that I do like to use all the time is my 1x6 inch ruler. This happens to be by OmniGrid, but again, all the big ruler makers make something similar. I like using it because it's nice and small, easy to control. It won't slip as I'm marking my lines. So I keep it right next to my sewing machine and use it all the time for different things. Typically to check my 1/4 inch. So again, very useful little ruler. How do I mark my sewing lines or my diagonal lines? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't use anything particularly special, not on most of my fabrics. Because we're marking on the back of the fabric, I go ahead and use a regular mechanical pencil. I find that it gives me a nice clear line that I can see, and it's fine and sharp, so it's not adding to that 1/4 inch. If I have to mark on fabric that is dark, then obviously I need something that's lighter, and mechanical pencil isn't going to cut it. So I like to use this. It is a marking pencil by Sewline. It's specifically made for fabric, and you can erase it by dabbing it with water, or you can also use a special eraser on the pencil that will erase the line. This one is in white, so it's the complement. It's what I use when I have a dark fabric and I need to mark it. If you struggle with your 1/4 inch, there's another tool that you can use, and it's called diagonal seam tape. It's got a center line, as you can see, and 2 1/4 inch lines on either side. You put this underneath the needle of your sewing machine and then lay the tape directly across from the needle on your sewing bed, and then you can use it to line up your 1/4 inch. Now, how I use it specifically for half square triangles is I can guide the 2 points, the 2 corners of my square along the line, the center line, and sew exactly 1/4 inch away. It's great, and you don't have to mark with that method. So diagonal seam tape by Cluck Sew. I highly recommend it, because then you won't be doing all the marking on your half square triangle squares, fabric squares, but you'll still get really great results. Another tool that you can use to make half square triangles is triangle paper. We talked about it in the intro to half square triangles, and this is what it looks like. Thangles has been making triangle paper since the dawn of time, I think, and so I highly trust their product. But there are other companies who make similar things. Thangles happen to be rectangular, so you're going to be cutting strips of fabric and then laying this paper on top of the strip and sewing where it has the dotted lines, and that's going to get you your perfect half square triangle. Other companies that make these might make them more a rectangle like that, and so you're going to be sewing here and then sewing back down and then sewing this way, and kind of a zigzag, and that will get you your perfect half square triangles. Let's see, what else do I like to use? Well, after you make your half square triangles, with most of the methods, you're going to be trimming them up to ensure that they are now the correct size. So you're making them slightly larger and then trimming them to size, which helps with accuracy. Well, the problem with trimming is that you've got a square, so you're going to have to trim here and here and then here and here. Well, obviously cutting this way and then trying to reach across that way, it really ensures that you're going to be whacking off your pinky. So not a good idea. Something that helps with that is a rotary cutting mat like this. This one has, as you can see, a circle in the back that helps rotate the mat. So it's a rotating cutting mat that allows me to cut these 2 sides, and then I rotate the mat and I cut the other 2 sides. So I don't have to cut across myself or across my hand, really. And so that helps ensure that I'm not going to be injuring myself while trimming up all those half square triangles. So rotating cutting mat, a nice investment. Something else that you can use to trim your half square triangles and save time are a set of specialty rulers by Quilt in a Day. Here's one. It's called a Quilt in a Day triangle square up ruler. And the idea is that you use these specially marked lines to line up on the seam of your unpressed half square triangle. And then you trim this side and that side. And by doing it when it's unpressed, you're actually trimming all 4 sides. So with 2 cuts, you get your half square triangle trimmed to the perfect size. Now there is another way that you can use this tool where you line it up on one side and you make a single cut, and that gets you your perfect half square triangle. So simple math says with a single cut, you're saving 75% of your trimming time. So although you may not be a person who likes to buy special rulers all the time, these rulers are really worth it. If you don't happen to be able to find the Quilt in a Day triangle square up rulers. There are other companies who make similar rulers. One of the ones that I'm seeing making its round on the internet right now is something called the Clearly Perfect Slotted Ruler. What I do like about that particular design, it has slots here that help you trim off the dog ears of your half square triangles. You can also do that with these rulers too. And I'll show you in the video that explains how to do trimming with the half square, with the Quilt in a Day triangle square up ruler. But anyway, so you could purchase the Clearly Perfect Slotted Ruler and have the exact same experience. You're making 2 cuts and your half square triangles are trimmed to size, which is like awesome. So I'm looking around to see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. I think that's about it. So those are some of my favorite tools for half square triangle making. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot, because it's not here in front of me. The thing that I use almost on a daily basis whenever I'm making half square triangles nowadays is the laser on my sewing machine. I don't know if you've heard this, but you can purchase a laser that you fit on top of your sewing machine and it beams the light down. And you can use that light for a lot of different things. I've used it for ruler work, straight line quilting. I've used it for making quarter square triangles, half square triangles. Anyway, the idea is that the light shines from corner to corner and you just guide your foot along that and you can get a perfect 1/4 inch away from the diagonal and you're not marking a thing. So it saves me a buku amount of time. So those are the tools that I like for making half square triangles and I highly recommend them. I will be putting in the description of this video, I'll be putting links to all those tools so that you can find them more easily online. I think that's it for now. I hope to see you soon. Again, be sure to follow me and you'll be notified next time I put a video up. Until then, bye.